Why is this sort of the area that we should be focusing our efforts on with such sort of limited resources? I guess if we're talking about sort of a World War II level ramp up of industrial production, across multiple years, I can imagine, honestly, we're talking about thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars per person that we're investing in our economy. And I would guess that if you talk to the majority of Americans and said, we would like to spend, $10,000 to make your life better, clean air would probably not be, the first and foremost concern that comes to mind. It seems like there are a lot of other, poverty sort of reduction programs and things like that that a lot of people would place on a higher priority. So I guess, given limited time and resources, why should we focus our attention here?
It's a great question, and I think, continuing with the theme of understanding and talking about what role the faith community has played in this, the answer to that could be you could do a cost-benefit analysis and look at, for example, you could compare the $523 billion in health costs that are currently being borne by people here in the United States with, the $10 billion in subsidies to the oil company and the additional subsidies and tax loopholes and incentives that result in net economic benefit for the coal industry. I don't have numbers off the top of my head. So you could do a cost-benefit analysis comparing the benefits to the cost, and in the case of air pollution, studies have shown repeatedly the costs far are dwarfed by the benefits. So you could take a rational approach, or you could look at it from a normative perspective, which is a question of moral and spiritual, or let's just leave spiritual out of it, but talk about it in moral terms. And you get into the conversation of what ought we to do, what is the right thing to do, what is the just thing to do, and that is that's what the debate is about, is how are we going to organize ourselves, what do we believe is right, and in some ways it's whose voice is loudest, who has the most money in terms of what's, how it's currently being shaped. But I would answer your question of why should we invest resources in this particular way, because the alternative, to me, the consequences of catastrophic climate change, of the temperatures rising at the rates that they are currently rising, and the impacts that will have on destabilizing the climate, the mass migration and refugees that will be created by rising sea levels in poor countries like Bangladesh and some of the the island communities, where their entire island is 3 feet above seawater. So I think it's a question of justice, it's a question of fairness, but I also think when we look at the long-term cost-benefit analysis, I think you actually, and I don't have numbers off the top of my head to back that up, but I think we actually win in a rational cost-benefit analysis as well.